Hello dear students, welcome back to the Royal Palace PU College online classes. So in last class we have discussed about the properties of the colloidal particle. So in that colligative property and Tyndall effect, optical property, kinetic moment, so that is Brownian moment, and the charges which are present on the colloidal particle. So and the next one, here I am going to discuss one more property, that is electrophoresis. So electrophoresis, it is a method in which what happen. So this is used for the determination of charges present on the colloidal particle. By using electrophoresis method, they are going to confirm that the colloidal particles carrying what here charges. Now here what happen? Here in this method electrophoresis, the electrophoresis, it is a phenomenon of migration of ions. So already we know that the colloidal particle which carries either positive charge or negative charge. Now what happen? Here by applying electrode potential. So in this setup, experimental setup, we have two electrodes. So by these two electrodes we are going to apply what here? Electrical potential. So what happen? After applying electrical potential, the ions which are present on the colloidal particle which migrate towards the electrode, which migrate towards the oppositely charged electrode. So that phenomenon is called what here? Electrophoresis. So electrophoresis, which is a method which is used to confirm the charges present on the colloidal particle. So already we have an idea about the colloidal particle which must carries what here? Either positive charge or negative charge. Now here what happen? So this is an experimental setup in which what happen? The colloidal solution is taken. So and here there are two electrodes, platinum electrodes are there. These two electrodes which are, one is act as an anode and which is another one is act as an cathode. Now here when these two electrode, so these two electrode applying to the electrical potential. So on applying electric potential, the charges which are carries by the colloidal particle which migrate towards either cathode or anode. So depending upon the charges present on the colloidal particle. So here suppose the colloidal particle having positive charges on it. So that will migrate towards the anode which is negatively charged. That means what here? Here suppose the colloidal particle which carries negative charge, so that will migrate towards the positively charged electrode. So that phenomenon is called what here? Electrophoresis. So electrophoresis, it is a phenomenon of migration of ions towards the oppositely charged electrode. So under the influence of electrical potential, so that phenomenon, that process is called what here? Electrophoresis. Okay. So now here I will move for the one more concept, that is electroosmosis. So electroosmosis, it is a phenomenon of movement of dispersion medium. So here in case of electrophoresis, here what happen? The phenomenon of migration of dispersed phase particle can be takes place. But here the osmosis means phenomenon of migration of dispersion medium, towards electrodes under the influence of electric field, electric field. So that is called electroosmosis. Here also same thing. Here what happen? The migration of ion can be takes place towards oppositely charged electrode under the influence of electric field. That is called what here? Electrophoresis. And electroosmosis means movement or migration of dispersion medium towards the electrodes under the influence of electric field. So that is called what here? Electroosmosis. Okay. So next one property, that is coagulation or precipitation. So coagulation or precipitation, it is a phenomenon of settling of colloidal particle can be takes place. So that is called what here? Coagulation. So that is process of conversion of colloidal sol into precipitate. So in this phenomenon especially, so coagulation, so the phenomenon of colloidal particle, so whereas that colloidal particle they will settle, so that process is called what here? Coagulation or precipitation. So coagulation, so here what happened? The stability of lyophobic sol is due to presence of the charge. Now here already we know the coagulation or precipitation means whenever the charges which are present on the colloidal particle, so they are the stable. So when we are going to remove the charges, that will become what here? Unstable, and that will aggregate, and that colloidal particle they are settled down. So that phenomenon is called what here? Coagulation. So coagulation, it is a process of conversion of colloidal sol into precipitate by suitable method. So here we have some methods how we are going to coagulate the colloidal sol. By using some methods are there, is called coagulation or precipitation. Or the coagulation, it is a process of settling of colloidal particle. So that is called what here? Coagulation or precipitation. So consider the lyophobic sols which are stable when they carry the charge. If we are going to remove the charges which are present on the colloidal particle, that particles get aggregate and comes near to the bottom and settle down. So that is called what here? Coagulation of lyophobic sol. Okay. So the stability is due to presence of what here? Charges which are carried by the colloidal particle. So when we are going to remove the charges which are present on the colloidal particle, so that colloidal particle gets settled down. So that leads to what here? Coagulation or precipitation. Now here this coagulation method, so which can be done by using following methods. Okay. So iga nan coagulation means, that means what here? The settling of colloidal particle. So when the colloidal particle gets settled, when we are going to remove the charges which are present on the colloidal particle, that time the colloidal particle get settled down. That process is called coagulation or precipitation. Here we have some methods which are used to coagulation of lyophobic sol. Okay. The first method is electrophoresis, by electrophoresis. Now already we have discussed here electrophoresis. What happened? The movement of colloidal particle, that will movement of ions which will migrate towards the oppositely charged electrode. So that will that ions which goes and discharge on the electrodes, and they will get what here? Settle down. They will get what here? Coagulate. So so this is first method by electrophoresis. So electrophoresis, in which what happen? The ions which migrate towards the oppositely charged electrode and which get what here? Disintegrate. So which get what here? Discharged on the electrode. So that phenomenon leads to what here? Coagulation or settling of colloid. Now the second one is by mixing of two oppositely charged colloids or sols. So here, so if you have a equal volume of positively charged electrode and equal volume of negatively charged electrode, when we are going to mix it, so equal proportion of these two oppositely charged electrode, I mean colloidal solution, when we are going to mix, there is a neutralization can be takes place. So by neutralization, the charges which that will get what here? Neutralized. So that leads to the again settling of the what here? Colloidal particles. That leads to the coagulation, or that leads to the precipitation by mixing of two oppositely charged colloids. So this is the another one method which is used to coagulation of lyophobic sol. So coagulation is an phenomenon of settling of colloidal particle. So when they will get coagulate, so when we are going to remove the charges which are present on the colloidal particle, that charges which are removed. So by using the method that is electrophoresis, and the second one method by mixing of two equal volume of two oppositely charged colloidal sol. The next method by persistent dialysis. So dialysis, already we know that the process of removal of dissolved substance from an colloidal solution is called dialysis. So already we know about this concept in previous video. Now here, by persistent dialysis, there is a continuous process. When we are going to apply continuous process dialysis, the traces of electrolyte also removed. So already we have an idea about the colloidal solution that require what here, minimum amount of electrolyte for their stability. But here when we are going to do continuous dialysis, continuous process of dialysis, even the minimum quantity of electrolyte that has to be removed by this process, continuous dialysis, and that will becomes what here, the colloidal particles unstable. So when we are going to remove the even small amount of electrolyte which are present in the colloidal solution, at that time what happen, the colloidal particles becomes unstable and they will get what here, coagulate, they will get what here, settle down. So this is an third method of coagulation of lyophobic salt. Next one method, by boiling. Okay, so when we are going to boil the lyophobic salt, the layer, adsorbed layer which is present on the surface of this particle, so that adsorbed layer get disturbed. So by this way, the charges which are present on the surface of the lyophobic salt, so that is removed. So by boiling, what happens, there is a collision can be takes place between the dispersed phase particle, that means colloidal particle and dispersion medium. So at the time what happen, the adsorbed layer which is present on the colloidal particle, that will get disturbed and charges which are removed. So when the charges are removed, automatically that leads to the settlement of what here, colloidal particle can be takes place. So this is an fourth method for the which is used for the coagulation, that is settling of colloidal particle. Now the next one, fifth one method, by adding an electrolyte. So here by adding an electrolyte, here we are going to add excess of electrolyte to the colloidal solution carrying what here, oppositely charged. Suppose here in this method the positively charged colloid is there, we are going to add excess of what here, negatively charged electrolyte. Okay, oppositely charged electrolyte we have to add. So when we are going to add oppositely charged electrolyte, there is a neutralization can be takes place. So after neutralization, automatically we know that when we are going to remove the charges, so automatically the colloidal particle get aggregate and settle down. So this is an method which is used to coagulation of what here, lyophobic salt. Now here the ion which is added for the coagulation. So here we have discussed, we are going to add oppositely charged electrolyte to the colloidal solution. I have given example, suppose the colloidal solution carrying negative charge, so we have to add what here, positively charged electrolyte for their neutralization. The ion which is added for the neutralization, so that ion is called what here, coagulation ion or flocculating ion. Okay, so coagulating ion or flocculating ion, it is an ion which is added for the neutralization of the charge on the particle, colloidal particle, is called coagulating ion or flocculating ion. So here we have discussed that we are going to add oppositely charged electrolyte to what here, neutralize the colloidal particle. So that ions are called what here, coagulating ion. So already we know that negative ion cause precipitation, positively charged colloidal particle, opposite charge. Positively charged colloidal particle which neutralize what here, negatively charged colloidal particle. So here I have written, then one rule is there, Hardy-Sculls rule. So what do you mean by Hardy-Sculls rule? Means greater the valency of ion added. Here we are going to add ion for the neutralization of colloidal particle. Now Hardy-Sculls rule means greater the valency of the ions, greater its power of coagulation. So now here the Hardy-Sculls rules means the greater the valency of flocculating ion, this way ion added, the greater is its power to cause coagulation. Note, I mean when we are going to increase the, when the valency of the ion is increases, greater its power of coagulation. So that rule is called what here? Hardy-Sculls rule. Okay. Next one, here I have given example in coagulation of negatively charged salt. For that we have to add what here? Positive ions. Now here I have given one example. The order is Al plus 3, which have what here? Al plus. So these are the positively charged ion. So this ion used to coagulate what here? Negative salts, opposite charge. Now here aluminum plus 3. So that has what here? More coagulating power compared to Ba plus 2, because the valency is less. Aluminum having more valency plus 3, hence it has what here? More power of coagulation than Ba plus 2, because it has what here? Less valency compared to this Al plus 3. And then what here? Ba plus 2, that has more coagulating power compared to Na plus, because the valency is here greater than Ba plus 2. Ba plus 2 valence is greater than what here? Plus. Hence the order of this flocculating power is Al plus 3 has more coagulating power compared to what here? Ba plus 2 and then Na plus 2. Okay. Now here similarly for the coagulation of positive salt, we have to add what here? Negatively charged ions. The order is, again here same thing, greater the valency, more is the power of coagulation. I have given one example. The power of order of that flocculating coagulation power is FeCN6 minus 4, greater the valency minus 4, PO4 minus 3. Compare these two, we have what here? More valency, greater valency. Hence the FeCN6 minus 4 has what here? More coagulating, flocculating value, okay, power than this PO4 minus 3. So because the minus 4 it is greater than what here? Minus 3. Hence the valency compared to these two, PO4 minus 3, SO4 minus 2, the greater valency we are going to observe in case of what here? PO4 minus 3 on comparing this SO4 minus 2. Hence the order is like that. Greater the valency, more is the power of flocculation. So that is then Hardy-Sculls rule. Now the last one concept, that is coagulating value. So the concentration of electrolyte required in millimoles per liter to coagulate the colloidal salt in 2 hours. So that is called what here? Coagulating value or flocculating value. So coagulating value or flocculating value means the concentration of electrolyte in millimoles per liter to coagulate or to precipitate colloidal salt in 2 hours is called what here? Coagulating value. Okay. So next one I will continue the same concept. So that is protection of the colloids. Next one concept, before going to this concept, that is protection of colloids. So another one concept, that is coagulation of lyophilic salt. So what we discussed in next here, that is coagulation of lyophobic salt, already we have discussed. Now next one, coagulation of what here? Lyophilic salt. Here also same thing, lyophilic salt that get what here? Settled down. Okay. The stability of lyophilic salt also what here? Due to the solvation. So already we know that the lyophilic salts are the stable, then more stable than what here? Lyophobic salt, because lyophilic salts are the solvent attract, they will show what here? Solvent attraction. That means they form a cover or they form a sheath around this particle, a layer that is sheath of what here? Solvent. Hence they are the more stable, the lyophilic salts are the more stable than what here? Lyophobic salt. The stability is due to what here? Charge which is present on it, and also solvation, because they form a layer of what here? Solvent, a sheath. Okay. So when these two factors we are going to remove, that is charges and solvation, so that lyophilic salt get what here? Coagulated. The stability of lyophilic salt is due to the charge and solvation. So when we are going to remove the charge and solvation, so by adding oppositely charged electrolyte, the charges will be removed. By adding an alcohol and acetone, there is a dehydration can be takes place, removal of what here? Water molecule. So automatically the lyophilic salt get what here? Coagulate or settle down. So this is coagulation of lyophilic sol. The next one, protection of colloids. So protection of colloids, especially the colloids, lyophilic colloids are more stable than lyophobic colloids, because already we have discussed that the lyophilic colloids which surrounded by, covered by the sheath of the liquid. So just I have shown here the lyophilic colloids, these are covered by the sheath of the liquids, hence they are more stable than what are lyophobic sol. When we are going to mix lyophilic sol and lyophobic sol, the lyophilic sol which get cover to the lyophobic sol, hence the lyophilic sol which gives protection to the lyophobic sol. So this is the protection of colloids. So the lyophilic colloids which gives protection to the lyophobic sol. So when we are going to mix lyophilic and lyophobic, the lyophilic colloids which cover the lyophobic colloids, hence the lyophilic colloids which gives protection to the lyophobic colloids. Now the next one concept, emulsion. Emulsion means already we know that the dispersion phase and dispersion medium both are what here, liquid. That means liquid is dispersed in liquid. Okay, dispersion phase and dispersion medium both are liquid, they are called emulsion. Here we have two types of emulsion, that is first one is oil in water type and second one is water in oil type. For oil in water type the example is milk, and for water in oil the example is butter. Now emulsifying agent or emulsifiers. So what do you mean by emulsifiers or emulsifying agent? Means the substance which are added to the stabilize the emulsion. The substance which are added to the stabilize the emulsion, they are called emulsifying agent or emulsifiers. Okay, the substance which are added to the stabilize the emulsion, so they are called emulsifying agent or emulsifiers. Now the next one concept, colloid around us. Okay, so blue color of the sky. So the dust and water which is suspended in air, so it can scatter the blue light and reaches our eyes and it sky looks like blue. Okay, and the fog, mist and rain, so these are the colloids which are around us. Food particles, I mean food articles, sorry. So milk, butter, ice cream, so these are the food articles which are colloidal in nature. And then blood, so blood is also in colloidal in nature. The next one, the last concept of this chapter, so applications of colloids. The first thing, electrical precipitation of smoke. Here what happened, the smoke which is coming out before coming out of the chimney, so that is subjected to the one precipitator, that precipitator is called what here, quaternion precipitator. So when the smoke before coming out of the chimney, that is passed to the quaternion precipitator, and the quaternion precipitator having what here, a plates, and the plates which are oppositely charged compared to the dust particle, I mean smoke. So the smoke which having what here, oppositely charged particle which get attracted to the quaternion precipitator plates, and hence the smoke after coming out of the quaternion precipitator, that is free from the dust particles. Okay, so that is first application, electrical precipitation of what here, smoke. Second one, purification of drinking water. So here for the drinking water purification, the colloids can be used. Alum, so the alum which is added to the drinking water, here what happens, after adding alum, the impurities get aggregated and they are settled down. So that gives what here, purified water that gives after adding alum. So alum that leads to the coagulation of impurities which are present in impure water. So when we are going to add alum, there is a coagulation of impurities can be takes place, that gives what here, pure drinking water. Now next one, medicine. So here the colloids which play a very important role in the medicine, because the medicine having what here, large surface area. So for that reason they are good medicines. The colloids which are act as an good medicines because of only presence of what here, they having what here, large surface area. Now the applications of colloids, this colloids are used in rubber industries. So latex, from latex we are going to prepare what here, rubber. So for that the applications of colloid can be used. Next one, used in photographic films and plates. Next one application, cleaning action of soap and detergent. So already we have discussed about this in cleaning action of soaps. Okay. Next one, the colloids which play, the last one application which play very important role in the industrial products like the manufacture of ink, paints and cement, rubber. So these are the applications of colloid. So with this surface chemistry chapter get completed. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you.